Hey guys, welcome to part 2 of the Complete Beginner's Guide to Black Hands. The first video was massively successful. Thank you so much for all your subscribes, likes, comments and shares. So I thought I'd do a part 2. So this part is going to be mainly the sort of commentary over the fights as they happen, and sort of what I was thinking, what I was going for, what my teammate was going for. Unfortunately the audio did get a little bit messed up, so there's going to be a lot of commentary and just some light music in the background. Hope you enjoy. So in this fight, I'm running black hands, my partner is running light crossbow, is the most common combination I seem to run at the moment. Basically our build's determined on sort of burst DPS, purges at the right time, and separating out people. So we're going to go up against a Druidic bow combination. So what they're trying to do is clear some space, build some stacks on the bow, and basically choose when to engage. Now what we want to do here is engage hard on the bow and just lock them down, stop them doing DPS and just separate them. So as you can see here, I W in, Q a few times and then bow. As my purge goes off, it stops the druid E from proccing. So not only do we deny them a big kill, we get a lot of burst damage, and as you can see, my E and my partner's E perfectly syncs there with the purge and the DPS. Now unfortunately we do go running around for a little bit against this nature healer, because that is the game at the moment. So essentially they can just run and heal and run and heal and run and heal, and it's very hard to catch them. But thankfully we do eventually catch him, and well, you'll see in a second what we do pick up of him. And that is why you should probably never double dip. There was a lot of gear on that guy. It looks like 2 or 3 sort of Hellgates worth, including a 6.1 Royal, which is very nice. So this next fight's a bit of a strange one. It's not very often you come against solo players in 2v2 Hellgates unless they're streamers or YouTubers or someone just basically trying to have fun. But what we're going to run into here is a build I've seen quite a lot, and it's being run alongside a soulscythe or another burst DPS, and that is the burst pike lockdown. Now this guy is a solo player, and it takes a lot to beat 2 players in one, unless you've got a very specific tactic or an idea in mind. So what we do here is clear the mobs just to not allow any sort of mob damage on us, and essentially the way to beat this is to make sure one of you doesn't get stunned and pop your giant boots, and it's pretty much over. So if you did want to try something like this, run with a partner, guys. Run with a soulscythe or another pike maybe, and make sure that stun lands. This next fight is going to involve a quite meta build at the moment, which is basically the stunlock blazing build. In this iteration, it is being run with a Grove Keeper for the big stun, the big clap, the big demon cape, along with obviously the blazing in the back line. But I've seen this being run successfully with a Tomb Hammer as well. Now my preference is to run it with a Tomb Hammer, just because the attack, the lockdown, the stun is a lot less telegraphed than the Grove Keeper, so you'll see in that video why that becomes apparent. But essentially what we want to do here is we don't want to fight in a choke, you want to fight in an open space, so we decide to back down and let them engage us. What we're waiting for is the Grove Keeper to charge up, and then the second he does is one of us pops our Guardian Boots and we just dive on the blazing. As soon as the blazing's down and we survive, so as you can see I pop my Giant Boots just as he engages there, my partner's already got the blazing staff way down. I purge his cleric there so he can't stay alive, and then it's just a matter of keep the pressure on the Grove Keeper. Now you've got to be careful, the Grove Keeper can still one hit you, especially if he's got all his cooldowns, so you don't want to do anything too stupid. You want to stay spread, try to dodge the big telegraphs. It's a bit like a boss fight in a PvE dungeon. But yeah, once you've purged the cleric robe off someone with your E as black hands, the fight becomes so much easier. They lose, 1,000 HP from the Graveguard essentially, and obviously that burst 30% damage and healing from the cleric as well. So yeah, if you come across this combo, stay spread, don't group up, and make sure you've got your giant boots ready to pop, or your defensive cooldowns ready to pop. For example, Fort Sterling Cape, or your cleric if you're only running that. And after that, just stay on the DPS, the blazing, and just absolutely pile pressure on and try to purge any sort of cleric or any sort of defensive that they might use. So this next fight is going to be against a very, very strong combination, and one that I've struggled with in the past, which is Broadsword and Druidic Healer. Basically, it allows them to do big finishing DPS, it allows them to do constant DPS, parries, etc., and obviously just keep on the heals. So the goal here is to separate the Broadsword from the healer and burst him down, and obviously to purge his stacks as well. What we managed to do in this fight was they grouped up, so the light crossbow's E done a lot of damage to both of them, caused the healer to panic, and we managed to actually purge the Druidic E, which is something I looked to do, and it's very difficult because you've got to watch the health bars. But as you can see in this fight, as we engage, the E goes off, causes multiple damage. The Thetford Cape goes off, causes multiple damage. The obviously the heals are just slowly ticking him up, but here, when I notice the E pop and purge it, crossbow does a brilliant job in just picking them off there across the Fiend Robe for an easy victory. Guys, if you can get that Druidic E away from the healer, it causes them no end of grief because they expect it to pop, so they don't bother casting any extra heals, and they just kind of disrupt there with the Fiend Robe as he tried to. So yeah, look for those big heals, look for those big buffs, just press E. That's all you need to do. And the final fight, and quite an important one I believe, is against some soulscythe and some bear paws. Now that's not a common combination, but if you think about the logic behind the build, it's a stun lock burst, which obviously that does work. I'd prefer the burst to be range, but that does work, it does its job. So again, the easiest way to deal with any sort of one-shot build, no matter how it comes, is to do exactly this. Wait for them to show their hand, wait for them to try to engage, and the second they do, pop your Guardian Boots. And what happens is you just live through. In this situation, you always want to take down the burst DPS, so the other one compared to the soulscythe, because essentially the soulscythe is pretty useless without a demon cape, a stun, and a burst DPS behind it. It's very, very hard to sort of secure kills. So again, the thing about the soulscythe is it is very good at running away. So obviously, once you're out of combat, if they do decide to run, switch over to you run on your boots. Make sure you don't run into too many mobs and get your health too low. Just watch your cooldowns, because the soulscythe can turn around and sort of ping you down. So yeah, that's it basically. If you come across a soulscythe / burst DPS build, focus on the burst DPS. Make sure you pop your defensives, and focus on the burst DPS rather than the soulscythe, because as you can see, it's pretty useless after that. So guys, I hope you've really enjoyed part 2 of the Black Hands guide, just a bit of commentary and sort of how to face meta things. Going forward, I'm probably going to start releasing other weapon guides as well as some more Black Hand stuff in terms of 2v2 Hellgates. I'm trying to get a 5v5 team together and sort of learn that, but it's proving very difficult, so hopefully I'll have some 5v5 content for you guys very soon. If you have enjoyed it, please let me know. I'm always up for feedback, or what you'd like to see, what you don't like to see, what you like to hear from. But basically, my ideas going forward are going to be this sort of format. It's a format I really enjoy. It's a format I believe I've got a lot of input on as well. So it's going to be a lot of commentary over fights and sort of what I was thinking, why I was thinking it, what I did, etc, etc. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed. Please, if you have, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you'd like to see. I'd love to get some of your replays as well. I'm going to set up a system to do that soon. Other than that, please enjoy the rest of your day. Cheers, guys.